I just want to quickly jump in here and tell you guys how I feel about this situation that these guys just basically confirmed in my mind what's going on. Uh, what's going on is you can look at this video or whatever. I don't agree with everything they say about every little thing, but I definitely agree with this part and a lot of what they say. Like, I don't want to get into what I don't agree, but I'm talking about what I want to talk about right here. So, like, basically, they're talking about some stuff that you don't see in a typical Bible. You see in like some Talmud or whatever that's being like referenced out of an encyclopedia, like a Jewish encyclopedia, where they basically just talk about Cain and all this stuff, how he has this crazy lifestyle and like like homosexuality, just incest, just fucking whatever, sexual immorality and all kinds of bad stuff like sins like out of the fucking like ass. And then on top of that, they don't want to tell any truth or any like it's a lot of backward stuff. So I keep trying to tell these guys like for one, they think this is just white people in general, like and they keep forgetting about Japheth. And I'm like, yeah, there's like several different type of white people that just so naturally do look like, kind of pale, like white or whatever. And so you can see right through their skin. They look like a red color. Like it's two different types of groups. And I think the ones that look white are, Japheth or whatever. And he doesn't seem to understand that, like, for example, 5% of the slaves were owned here in America. Like, you actually have celebrities world renowned from that 5% of slaves. But you go to Brazil, where they have 50% of the slaves, tenfold more. You never even hear about it. You don't hear about the Indian looking ones there, like basically the Hebrew looking people. And now basically what he's talking about is like they're trying to like bunch us in with the Canaanites, saying we're Canaanites and stuff. And basically, Hamites are from Cain's lineage. And if you don't know Cain's lineage, it's got to do with incest. Like, look at the book of Enoch. That's how he was able to reproduce. He was fucking his mom, and it caused all kinds of problems. And then later on, the fathers were raping the daughters, and they were doing all kinds of incest, this Canaanite stuff that they're talking about right here, and it caused like a lot of problems. And anybody knows that Africa used to be called Ethiopia, like for the most part, all of it. And, they had different tribes. Some are bad tribes, as you could call it, like they go around eating people and stuff. And then they got civilized cities and tribes, I guess you could call it, in those cities and stuff. And, it's just different. Some built pyramids, like in the West Africa and all, and Egypt and stuff. It's just different situations. Just like in America, like the Native Americans in America on the northern part are more peaceful. They wasn't, from what I could tell, sacrificing their people to deities. And but the ones to the central part of this country were, and it's just totally different cultures and stuff, just depending on the location. But what they're dealing with is really like these sea people, the ones who ended Egypt, the Vikings that came to the Americas, the the Roman barbarians that came out of the caves and took over Rome with passive, because they're feminized creatures, so they're passive. They don't want to fight directly, so they find passive ways of beating you. So they did like raids and then they would run instead of fighting directly, just like JFK talks about how they'll bring assassins by night instead of armies by day. These are these kind of feminized individuals that fight you passively with predator drones, with illnesses instead of arrows. Um, like everything from their genetic makeup all the way up, like subconsciously, is all like just passive for them. They're very feminized. That's all with them. That's their strength as a female. They're very this passive power to them, and men are active and all that kind of stuff. So they basically, these creatures, they came first. They even the Sumerians, they felt these creatures. They seem to be related to the Enlil. I think that was his name, one of the Anunnaki guys. He brought them out of the caves, and they were all pale and dog skin, not dog skin, but dog featured and monkey featured at the same time. So it's like you can see, Esau, he's got like a rhesus monkey feature to him because he's not like a typical white person. He's a mutation, but he's still, like he can mutate out of damn near any race that seems or whatever. But it seems to be related to a person's future. It can change their genetics as well. Like uh, the outside is kind of like it can be a reflection of the inside, but it can become vain and wasted. But if the inside does, keep going the way it's supposed to and support it. But anyway, so they went around, they took over Samaria, and that's why the Bible says only demons will be in those type of places after that, and that's what they were. They like you look at a monkey though, for example, it has all his hair on his body and not on his face. That's what Esau had. He had hairy body, his face was probably smooth as a butt. Like this has got to do with the mark of Cain. This has got to do with these sexual immoralities that cause these marks. Uh, his change from birth was likely related, and that's why he looked different from Abel. Abel's deeds were good, and his were destined to be bad. Probably just related to possibilities with his future and stuff that caused him to come out like that. And plus, he opened up the womb, and Eve was kind of fucked up, probably because of Lilith metaphysically fucking up all females by becoming the first demon. And so Eve was probably destined to follow that path. It was just something faulty with them, and they seemed to just be clones anyway. Like, and then, it's just a cloning system with them. Otherwise, that's why the 144,000 are not defiled with women of this world. They probably date these Holy Spirit women that they see in their dreams and stuff like that, or whatever. This is some books like not the Shepherd of Hermas, but one of those other 3 books that are related to it. Other 2, but there's 3 of them total. And like this is ones that lead you to hell and all this kind of stuff. They're basically demons. Demons are like female for the most part, and hermaphrodite, and they can be male ones too, but it tends to be that. That's why you always see the devil like part female, part male, part beast. It's all mixed up. That's why a lot of people are monkey featured, and that's why they target these people that are not got these monkey features. Like they hate them. A lot of them are targeted individuals, stuff like that. They're probably just more pure or whatever. And the main issue that the Hebrews are having, let me get to the point now that you kind of know the history of all that. And also the fallen angels mixed in with Ham's people. And, that's why you got dog men, Sasquatch, all these animal things that they worship. This is kind of important. That's why you don't go deep in the woods like the Bible says. These creatures, these satyrs are the goat demons. And literally they call her the owl demon or the night demon, but she's like an owl demon. That's why they worship all that stuff. You'll see them worshiping that stuff because it's where they came from. That's why they push the feminine over the masculine, because the masculine has consciousness and life welling up in them. And most men like waste their energy, that energy that's inside of them that makes them special with her. Or porn and all that kind of stuff. That's why they push that as young as possible to keep you from forming into a real man and ever experiencing real, like what Mike Tyson had, for example, for like he went 5 years without having, wasting his seed. And so he was really powerful. It really will make you powerful because that's what your power is in or whatever. But so they go in these weird places and worship them deep in the woods and stuff. That's why the Bible says that, that's where they'll be. And after they made Samaria desolate, they moved in there. And then they did the same thing in Rome. After they got those powerful empires under their control, they started sending them out to try and, do the devil's work against the people of God. They created Islam. All those Middle Eastern places used to be Christian. Ethiopia is the only place they didn't conquer. That's why it's still called Ethiopia. All Africa is called Ethiopia. Uh, that's why they have all the Bibles as well, including the Book of Enoch that exposes those freaks for what they are, and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, basically they wanted to like rewrite history and stuff and take the spot just like they did in Rome. They're like the Borg. They absorbed the people, and it's not Brazilian capoeira. It's the Hebrews and the African slaves that came up with capoeira. Just like a lot of Ethiopians or Africans came up with the black wall china, martial arts, and samurai. You had to have some color, and you had to be a samurai back in the day. Um, they thought the gods were invading when the Africans invaded because they knew all the statues looked like them. But anyway, so these were the same people they called the Sea People in Egypt and all the other great civilizations in the Golden Age, or whatever age that was. That was way better than where things kind of ended up afterwards. Because basically what they did was they came there just like they did in other areas, but now they had the skeleton of those societies that are rotting away under their control. But they used them to do as the Bible said. The only thing they know how to do from living in caves and surviving that way is to steal, kill, destroy. There's no resources. So they don't really know how to grow. They don't know how to do any of that. All they know how to do is be someone ahead and take your shit. Or whatever, a lie or whatever. As you could tell, this is what they do. They lie and all that shit. And so basically so you see where I'm going with that. But anyways, they came after them or whatever. And what did they do? They basically just were do the same kind of hit and run attacks. They got Egypt and all that stuff ransacked. And then around the same time they visited America, and then I guess they didn't really get America until recently. That's why I keep telling people you don't even hear about all those people that they killed to the south of here. You only hear about the Native Americans. It's like they're trying to play y'all off against each other because those Romanized Gypsy Jew people are strongly genetically connected in the Rome and all that kind of area. Now they replaced most of the real people there with their own. So that's where most of their genetics are. So when they spread to these other places and killed off those people to the south of here and left the white people to get America, now they want to take America. That's why they had a war between now colonized Mexico and colonized, that's really all they had probably because Mexico wasn't totally, killed off. Maybe it was just like regular Native American people there still, I guess, that wanted to get revenge and retake some of their land. So that's why they might have fought, but it might have also been what we got right now, this kind of this influx of people that were who they were, but they're more so Latinized from the Roman invasion, killing most of them off and just kind of hybriding with them. And, acting like now they're the natives. It's like it's their land. No, it's the people y'all killed that had a brown and red color to them or whatever, that had melanin to them that y'all killed off, that's their land, And most of them, those type of people that are still alive, are in their land right now trying to protect it and that kind of shit instead of coming here or whatever, So they're coming here, they're kind of like, that's why they're forcing this language, just Roman language. That's what Latino language is. It's not the colony. It's not El Salvadorian language. It's not Mexican language. It's not, Colombian language. It's Latino language. It's a Roman language that colonized them. That they're trying to that the Romans are trying to force on us. It's really just that same shit, because they're not good with language. Like cavemen type people are not good with language. All these little gypsy, weird creature, hybrid people, fairies. That's why a lot of them are real short, like the dwarfs and all that kind of shit. You'll see all throughout their land. There's a kind of mixed in with that. Maybe that's a native thing too. But it's really just this thing spreading everywhere. And the only place left is actually the Middle East. And what they did was they gave them all that bad mentality, that shit I was just showing you. So then they can use their book, based on their book, that then they're like, oh, those are Canaanites based on the way they're acting. They gave all these Canaanite beliefs and all this really barbaric stuff, so then they can dehumanize them and justify coming after them later. So that's what they're doing right now in the Middle East. They're not even the real Jews, and over there killing these people that are really the natives of the country, that have already gone through a lot of that kind of stuff happening there, like through the Crusades, all this other crazy shit, because that's all they know how to do. So they even tried the Crusades, but they failed, so they're doing this other shit with the bombing and the lies, the fake nuclear bomb, that didn't exist, and you wouldn't even believe me about what I believe about nuclear bombs. I believe in nuclear power, but bombs, okay, they didn't exist back then. I don't think. But you can. That's okay. Like test footage, just one of many examples. Bomb goes off, blows away the building in the test footage. Why is the camera not even moving? That's filming on the building, maybe 30 feet away from the building that just got blown away. And the building that got blown away is further away from the blast than the camera. Just why is it Japan is flourishing, growing food and all that shit, when it's supposed to be like this waste zone from a nuclear bomb? Come on, man, don't even get me started on that hocus pocus scare tactic that they would have been used a million fucking times if they use every other weapon they can. You better worry about 5G, that real directed energy weapon they're killing everybody with right now. And that's what this is. This is the purge. Coronavirus is the purge. This is the most desperate attempt to kill people ever. Far be using radio waves to kill people. 1916 million people, 51 million people died from it. Just like similar number right now, because these radio waves is really dangerous stuff, and it's already been directed energy weapons. As soon as they got the fake Jews got power in 1913, they started that shit in 1916. 3 years later, killed 51 million people. Nobody even caught on to what they were doing, and they just keep stepping up, and they're going all out right now. Like this is pretty much all out. Got all their perps sitting home hitting people with lasers. Their demons running around poking people. People don't even know why they're feeling all these pains and shit in their heart, and then they got the Morgellons under people's skin, tightening people up, giving them heart attacks and spasms or anything, making their body work against them. There's ways to cure all that, people just gotta contact me, I'm not gonna just put it on the web or whatever. We gotta get something going for real. And it's really not hard. Just gotta detox your body, for example. There's other deeper things that I can tell you that will just kill it right away, but like you can detox your body, that'll stop it from having something to feed on. And there's all these toxic ways that they're trying to toxify. Chemtrails, like all kinds of things, vaccines, all kinds of stuff. Go organic, eat fruits, avoid beef. Beef takes 5 days to digest. That's like gonna have worms spontaneously generating in it, and it's already a maggot-filled thing because it's a carcass. Those things they spontaneously generate. That's why they didn't even have to put them on Noah's Ark. Read the book. It didn't say anything about the creeping insects and shit. It said just get the animals in twos that can, reproduce and shit. Guys got to, really read and see it for what it really is instead of being played by people that are just filling in fake gaps for you and changing this and that to change the picture. And you go your whole life believing a lie and it's shaping your reality. Because people do things based on what they believe and shit. And they got you living in a false reality. That's what I keep trying to tell them, like I was saying, these are not Japheth or Esau. They are kind of Esau. Well, Esau is not like a white person. He's not Japheth. It's a different Canaanite mutation. It's a mutation that ended up in the caves. The Caucasus Mountains. A lot of them are Asian. They can't even grow a beard. Not every one of them is like that, but it's all these genetic mutations that kept fucking them up. And they're trying to ruin everybody's genetics right now. That's why they gave the Islamists This false religion. Look it up. The Roman Catholic Church. I put it on my BitChute if you can't find it anywhere else. The Roman Catholic Church created, Islam or whatever. I'm pretty sure I put it on there. Either that or, yeah, I'm pretty sure I put it on there. I'm not sure if they would be put it on here, or either that or I saved it on there and I was planning on downloading it and re-uploading. I'm not sure. It's probably just available on BitChute. I might be wrong, but yeah, like you'll see that they create it, and what it's gonna do is end up getting them into all this fleshy mentalities, like fucking your own cousins and shit and doing that incest, which will ruin their genetics, and they know that's the mark of the beast, and they're just trying to ease them into. They couldn't be too alien though, so they just eased it in piece by piece, and that's why there's all these contradictions in there and shit. But no, the Bible isn't completely true either. There's contradictions in there too, because there's some false books added, and this was already foretold in the earlier Old Testament books, so it wasn't a surprise to me. All when I saw Paul was a bullshit liar and contradicted Jesus in almost every way. Like saying God is the God of the living and the dead. Yeah, God can do whatever he wants to the dead or the living, but he's the God of the living. That's what Jesus said, not the dead. There's so many other ways, and then 2 different genealogies. The book of John was the only one who really told the truth, like, pretty much. Why you gotta have 4 different stories? But that's why he was a favorite apostle of Jesus, and that's why in that same book he calls out one of his apostles. You don't never call him out in none of the other books except for the obvious part when a lot of them leave him, and Judas. People didn't catch on to this trend of betrayal. Like it happened 2 times in one book. Like, so people didn't think it was going to continue. Like, especially without the motivation of like Jesus being right next to you. Like, how motivating do you need? How much motivation do you need? Like, you would imagine it will stick with them, but based on a lot of things I've done, people really just take things for granted sometimes. It's really crazy what they can take for granted. But yeah, so basically what they're doing is, now you can see kind of a little bit about history or whatever, is what they wanted to do was mix the people when they brought them here as slaves. The Hebrews with the Africans, and some of the Hebrews mixed with the white people. So then they'd have some of that Hebrew blood mixed into them that helped them out. But at the same time, they would basically just eradicate the Hebrews through the paper bag test, who were all going to be like around the paper bag color. Most of them would probably fail it and go inside because, they were probably not, that dark or whatever. They were pretty dark though. And then the other ones would be mixed with the Africans who were Canaanites or Hamites who were under the curse of slavery. So then they could just justify keeping them under slavery, you see? So then they could be like, they're either with, one thing or another, and basically just mix them with slaves for the most part, so they could, make them, cursed under the slavery thing. And I'm sure they were probably having the males getting, the Africans, mostly male, most of the male Africans getting to, reproduce or whatever over the Hebrew ones. So then the Hebrew ones, the males would, die out or whatever, and then they would all just end up being a whole bunch of Hamites under the curse. And it's really obvious what they were doing. They even changed the names when they would if the white ones would have sex with them, they would change their last name as well. So now they're no longer Hebrews. So they would lose their blessing that way. So either way, yeah, that was really dirty because they were focusing the ones that were more, less probably, because you sure the Hebrews were mixed with Hamites to begin with. So they was probably getting the more browner to light browner ones that were purely Hebrew, and getting rid of them completely, because there's a chance maybe that they weren't controlling the the reproduction with the slaves. So maybe some of the Hebrews were reproducing the males or whatever there. But on the white side of it, when they would take them into the house, they were just like dying without any children. The males would just be in the house and never have a kid. And more than likely, or because all the females were probably getting utilized by the so-called master or whatever, the slave owner or whatever. So they was really whitewashing the fuck out of it. Like, it's that white and black checkerboard. I keep telling people this is real, and dude just proved it for me. Like, they're trying to just cut out that brown part in the middle, man. All that melanated stuff, they try to cut it out. Keep trying to tell y'all about that, like how they try to do that. Check out my Game Stalker video. Show you how even in all the Latin countries, they're targeting the melanated people and making them poor. And in Colombia, they're even making them live in the sewers because if they catch them in the streets, they'll have like paramilitias kill them and stuff. Like, this is so ridiculous. That's why you don't even hear about none of those melanated slaves, even though there are way more of them in every single country south of you. You never hear about it. You think the lynchers here were bad. You don't even hear about the ones down there. But anyways, yeah, that's pretty much what's going on with that. I just wanted to clarify what that was about. And this video is already long, so, and also this is they're trying to do a purge right now. They even have, just like in the movie, it wasn't violent enough, so they brought in these rich little Romanized kids from Portland, where we all know they all over there. It's a sanctuary spot, and other places bringing them in. You'll see that the rioters usually not black people. They're these white-looking people because they got masks on, but they're really Romanized. I already know they're Romanized, or even maybe white or whatever. Just there's a lot of white people are in on the bullshit, and because what they do is they prop up these other races, like the white people, even though they hate white people, and hybrid colonists, even though they hate them probably, just because they want to have more of the people of color. So then those people will continue to want the system to have their ego feeling good because they watch someone that is really naturally superior to them struggle every day, simply, while they sitting there making so much money or whatever. And it's really because your community is so fucked up because of all that hybriding. And then they lied to y'all about where your ancestry was. And so a lot of y'all started just going that way and letting that like dominate the culture. And so that Canaanite stuff just really proliferated now. You got all this murder, death music, and all that kind of stuff. And it just justifies the way they keep the people enslaved. And it's literally going to have God just keep his back turned to the people while they're living like that too. And that's the gist of it, pretty much. Like, people need to step up because they're being killed everywhere. And then the Middle East, they're even bombing them daily, just trying to thin them out, expand the fake Israelites expansion, killing more people. Then from the Chinese side, because communism is made by the fake Jews, they're pinching the Hebrew, the people that used to be Hebrew that are really they're genetically Hebrew, but now they're Muslim or whatever, and against their whole religion because the Romans created Islam and gave it to them or whatever, and they're stupid enough to fall for it. So that's why they've been getting fucked over ever since, because God's not going to be on the side, the public's not going to be on the side, nothing's going to be on the side while they're living stupid, and promoting some stupid ideas. Even with those stupid ideas, they're not too bad as far as their violence compared to what America does and these fake Jews do, and what China does and all communist countries do to their own people and to every other country around them that they're trying to absorb, like the Borg. And it's under all their things, it's just a total like monopoly of power to their puppets basically in the country that they make all rich above the other people. And once they got that big monopoly and they got guns, you ain't got no guns, and there's nothing you can really do. It just ends up like China and like places south of here, where you gotta spend like 10 times what something's worth because they're making it so hard for you to get anything you want. The same thing they did in Africa. Like it's just a Canaanite thing. They're just pushing that white and black checkerboard going on there. They're trying to cut out that middle part. Canaan's always been jealous of like anybody that's like anything like what is his name, Abel. Abel and Shem. Shem was a reemergence of that other possibility because you already had those other possibilities. Well, you didn't until she started reproducing again, and Shem and all of them popped up, however the hell, later on or whatever. But I'm pretty sure that's the only other. I'm pretty sure that's what it was, because based on the Bible, it said he was red, and red would be like brown. The other way you can look at red as brown. Even though I'm pretty sure Esau was pretty much like red, red. But like it called Abel red when it talks about him in Enoch, and it calls Cain a black horse, clearly showing he's African and all that, and the mother was a black horse too. So like he took after her because he opened the womb, and that's why older sons have to be dedicated to God because they're going to end up having this feminine problem, taking after the mother and stuff, and yeah, so you gotta like kind of get them in the right mentality and get them going the right way early. Otherwise, they'll take after the mother and be kind of problematic. Like I'm the second brother, and I can see that in my brother. He's a lot more like his mother than I am. I'm not. I guess I could say I'm more like my dad, but I'm really just totally unique. Because that's how strong of a personality I am. I'm just totally unique. Uh, yeah, it's real. Like that's why you always see that reoccurring theme in the Bible, like Esau and Jacob. Esau was the older brother again, and then Isaac, and you know what I'm talking about. Uh, Ishmael, yeah, those two. It's always the older brother that ends up being kind of like less than the second brother for whatever reason. It's not always like that, but in cases where God intervenes, it's usually like that. But like Jesus probably was like not even the first son, because I know he had a brother who was probably older, and it's just this reoccurring theme. People don't seem to catch this kind of stuff. But it's obvious to me because I'm like the book's all about me, and I'm like that archetypal second son basically. And like for example, you can have it either be they're gonna end up being a mutated Canaanite or the Canaanite. Like it'll end up being like my brother. He's like more like the mutated Canaanite. He's lighter than me. I'm brown, like browner than him. So more like in the middle. He's more like into that Canaanite lifestyle. I'm not into that. It's on that kind of crazy, acting stupid, lying, everything Canaanite. I'm totally opposite of that. And it's just crazy. It's just, I'm really seeing it now and I'm thinking about it. Because, I just kind of making this video off the top of my head. Yeah, so it just came to me. So they're trying to push that onto our communities. And that's why our communities, like if you look at like Black Wall Street, you can see that was a lot more of the Indian looking. And of course, there's, some African slaves as well. Not all Africans are bad. It just totally depends on the person. Not all Hebrew people are good. It just depends on the person. Uh, Not all white people are bad. Just depends on the person. But like, so you would notice that most of them they was mixing with Native Americans, and a lot of them just look Indian kind of like, or Ethiopian kind of like they didn't look like African. They don't never show those slaves because they're trying to make you forget about them. Like they're really trying to make you forget about them for obvious reasons because they want to take y'all identity and put y'all in their camp with the slaves. And then this is why I'm offended when I see people not understand that. Look, at everybody in the Middle East is brown, that they got a copper color to them, and then everybody in Africa for the most part is black. Like you can tell the difference. It's clear in the way they act. Indians are very peaceful and native. Like very. You can just tell. Like you go to a Quickie Mart, you think the 7-Eleven guy's gonna start a fight with you, but you go like to a guy that's pitch black, you're gonna think a little bit that's like, not. I mean, not say. I can't. That's why I'm hesitating because not all Africans are bad. Actually, a lot of Africans are very peaceful. But like you could imagine the African dude getting more rowdy with you than like that Indian dude. You know what I mean? Like there's a different, like there's a slightly different nature to him. It's not that big of a nature, but it's big enough that it can make some really extreme things happen when you have that kind of nature mixed with a bad person at the same time. So, like I said, there's bad people of any color. Like you got jihadists in the Middle East and all that kind of shit. So, like I said, but you could tell the difference. Um, but it's just a different aggression level, and might just be a testosterone thing. Who knows? Like I have no idea. Might be just a genetic thing. Who knows? But all right, moving on. So basically, they're trying to mix that in so y'all can so you can justify doing all this fucked up shit to y'all. Uh, that's why right now they got BLM making y'all look stupid, making all of us look stupid, because they got them doing all this dumb shit, blowing their own cities apart, and then everybody else is just like, oh wow, they blow up their own cities. They don't want police. Okay, so let's not help them anymore when they call the police, or all these fucking things that they're setting up. So when someone's having a heart attack or whatever in their house, the cops can't even get there. They're like, oh, we're on strike right now, or they can't even get through. They start all these fireworks up just recently, part of their protest supposedly. Really just part of their way of killing all black people, part of this purge. And all these areas, just like New York, where they can't get away from it, just going off nonstop, 80-fold more than they used to get this year. Just trying to purge them out, man. Like, this is very real. Just stressing them out with the Wi-Fi, the 5G, killing them with the radiation, stressing them out. Got them stuck in the house, not getting out, getting any sunlight. Like these parasites just building up in them. They're just constantly monitoring them in their house and stuff, just fucking them over, man. And the fireworks and all that shit, like, it's just really fucked up. Just had a neighbor pass away. Not sure if it was because of that stuff or there was a lot of fireworks going off. It could have been that, stressed him out. He was out in the heat or something. Or it could have even been related to he might have been a part of the system and he got, like God was like judging him or something. I don't know. Who the hell knows? I'm not gonna get involved in that. That's kind of touchy. And but yeah, he definitely did show some perp activity. That whole house is really perpy. But anyways, I'm not getting into that. But yeah, that's basically the gist of this. That's what they did with the slavery thing. That's what they're trying to do to hide our history. They weren't really part of this plot. Like they really must have studied it and all that shit to know that they had to, have the males of the other race repopulate, not the males of the Hebrew race, and they even put it in our culture of hating on light skinned guys and all that kind of stuff. Because most of us that are still, any kind of Hebrew, light skinned, because we were probably in the house. If we were reproducing while in the house, we would have been the lighter ones of us. So, or if we were outside, you know, it was working out however the fuck it was working out. But very likely not in our favor out there because that's more on that end of the spectrum. And they know that too. That's why they made it. Like, put your skin, like, but most people that skin up against a paper bag test, and you'll realize that, for example, me, I would literally be like probably the color of the paper bag. So they probably bring me inside anyway, even though I probably could go outside easily. Like, I'm literally the color of the paper bag. and probably a little lighter. They probably bring me in, and then that'd be the end of my ancestry as far as they're concerned. They probably whitewash or and then also create division between the people because some Hebrews were more African hybrid, some were more white hybrid, some were just probably Hebrew through some miracle. It's really divisive what they plotted this out like. That's all I can say. I just wanted y'all to know that's what they're plotting. They're just trying to. You can't play into it. We gotta stop having these people act like fools. We gotta, get our dignity back, and we gotta like stop. We gotta look out for our ancestry because you look around, there ain't that many Hebrew genetic people anymore. Like a lot of people have been hybridized, and you can just tell by their way they act too. Most people of color are just not what they used to be. Like they used to be much more dignified. Like even the Canaanites were, when they came here, they were more dignified than what they made them become. They're just taking advantage of that Canaanite nature, that mark of the beast. Like they're trying to bring it out. They're trying to bring it out because it's just like anything, like genetic. Like it can be dormant. It can be even forgotten through generations. But they're trying to keep it alive and thriving on an artificial level that it probably never existed even in Canaanite days. Like it's crazy. That shit is ridiculous what they got them doing nowadays. I mean, all right, that's pretty much it. Wanted to put that out there. Peace. Oh yeah, watch out for the purge, man. Shit is very real. Like we gotta shut this shit down, man.